This is Howard Walensky for Skype, and I'm speaking with Tina Quick, who's an expert on families and students and other people making the adjustment to being expats, leaving this country or other countries and living abroad. So, Tina, what is the name of your business and what do you do? And
Okay, the name of the business is International Family Transitions. And basically, I work with individuals, students, or families that are making international relocations, whether they're going from home to another country or whether they've been living abroad and they're now returning home or becoming repatriates.
now you've done quite a bit of that yourself.
Indeed, I have, both as a child and as an adult. As a child, my father was in the military, so it was routine to move about every 2 years. I've made 18 moves in my life, and 9 of them were before my 10th birthday. Once I married a public health physician who says that countries are his patients. So we did quite a bit of traveling as a family. We lived in Peshawar, Pakistan, Nairobi, Kenya, and Geneva, Switzerland, and we've now relocated back to the US. That was the hardest move of all, coming back home again.
Hmm. How long had you been gone?
15 years.
So the world changed quite a lot, didn't it?
The world has changed quite a bit.
So okay, so you help people make these adjustments. What's involved with that? Is it really hard? Do some people fail at it?
Indeed, they do. And I like to tell the story of when, on our first posting to Pakistan, someone had the forethought to say to me, right about 3 months, you're going to just get really depressed and want to come home. But then there was a pause, and she said, "Oh, but don't worry about it. It'll go away." And sure enough, when we were in Pakistan, at first everything was kind of new and exciting and cute and quaint. But then after a while, I got a little blue and a little bluer. And then I went to the calendar and said, "Oh, well, it's been 3 months, and someone said this was going to happen to me." And and I said, "Yeah, they said it was going to go away too. So, okay, I'll just stick with it." And thank goodness she told me and warned me about that, because if she hadn't, I think I would have packed up the kids and left my husband sitting there. And this is really what my business is about. If people understand that the transition process they go through is completely normal, and all of the emotions that are associated with it, the feelings of self-doubt, the loss of self-esteem, the depression, etc., they're all to be expected. And once you understand that, then you know that you can get through it. There's fewer obstacles and stumbling blocks.
Now, how back when? Now, I was in the Peace Corps in Africa actually, and I got horribly ill and left. But we were told that the Peace Corps had done research that said that I think that they said that it took like 6 months to adjust to a new environment. At least it did back in those old days before the internet. I don't know if people adjust any faster now.
No, that's a pretty modest statement, I think. It can take you, excuse me, anywhere from, depending on your circumstances, I'd say 6 months to 3 years.
So how can technology help you make that adjustment? I mean, back when I was in the Peace Corps, the internet wasn't even you know a glimmer in anybody's eyes. Exactly. Nobody knew about, back in those days, making a long distance phone call was a big deal, even domestically.
Yes, indeed. In fact, there is a U curve of culture shock that people go through when they enter a new country, and there's a there's an increase in your normal level of feeling when you first arrive, because you're elated, you're excited, it's the honeymoon period, it's fun, everything is new and interesting. And then as time goes on, there's a dip where you feel as though you're becoming very irritated and even hostile to your host culture. And they say this is the fight or flight stage, where you start resisting adaptation. They also say it's the freeze and friend stage, because if you don't take care of this, you can freeze in this U curve, the bottom dip of the curve, and want to leave. And this is where you really have to draw on your friends. And a lot of times, those friends, you may not have made new friends yet in your new community. So, getting on Skype, getting on the internet, chat rooms, Skyping out, etc., are great ways to get that support that you need from the community that you've left behind, or community of other people that are also expatriates and maybe familiar with your situation and can help you through it.
And Tina, let me ask you though. I mean, if you if you get back in touch with the community that you left, does that make you homesick, or is it reassuring?
I think it's a little of both because you normally will grieve the past that you've left behind. Sometimes it can help bring closure because you realize that those friendships and relationships are moving on without you, and you have to move on. But it's also reassuring because they still will always be your friends. You have a shared history together, and you can always connect at some point.
It's funny. I know you live in the Boston area, and I was reading an article in the Boston Globe talking about the hover generation, the helicopter parents sort of hovering over the kids. And I read something else from an author in Boston that was hilarious, talking about how her daughter was in Africa going to school, and she probably talks to her more now on Skype than she did when she was home. So it's almost like not even being away. And I've heard this from other parents whose kids have gone, like for the junior year or senior year abroad. It's almost like they're hovering and more available than if the kids were home. Is that a healthy thing, or?
Well, the nice thing about Skype and the internet is that your child can decide whether or not that they want to communicate with you. Where if the phone just rings, they can tend to ignore it. When they see that there's a frame up that someone's Skyping you, I think there's more of a tendency to want to get on. There's also, while your children are away, they're also going through this period of self-doubt and being uncomfortable, and they want that reassurance from home. The parents want the reassurance that their children are doing okay. At college, they know they're fine, they're settled in. They don't know how they're settling in this new place. And this is one of the things I say to my parents that come to my seminars that I give the kids at international schools returning to their home country for university or college. And I say, get a webcam if you don't have one, because talking to your child on Skype and actually being able to see them face to face and knowing that they haven't gotten tattoos and piercings all over their face and body is going to make you feel better. So it brings a sense of reassurance that I think people on both ends of the conversation need to have.
Well, Tina, one last question. What happens if you get on the video and the kid does have all the piercings and tattoos?
Well, I think it is just a little, the stage is set for how you can really react when they come in the door. You've had some time to cool off about it before you actually see them in person. So I think it's probably better that way.
It's funny, that article I mentioned from the Boston paper, the woman said that when her daughter returns back from Africa from school, probably the only point of conversation to pick up was how was the flight back, because they're going to be totally up to date up to that point.
It's true. We saw that happen with our daughter when she went off to Barcelona for a semester. You feel like you're very much in touch. I have another friend whose husband is in the diplomatic corps. He's in Pakistan. She's in D.C. and they speak nightly. And when he comes home on his R&R, they feel like they have absolutely nothing to talk about because they're all caught up.
Well, listen, I appreciate your conversation, and what can I say? Get on Skype, stay in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you, Howard, for getting this out there. It's a great tool that we all need to keep our hands on.
Thanks, Tina.
All right.
Bye
Goodbye.
now.